Who's feeling buggy today? You feel it crawling on your skin? I don't think you want to snack on these bugs. I gotta say, in some ways, with the screen right here, I empathize. Because this is how I feel when I open the reaction video recommendation subforum in my Discord. When I open that channel, that's me. This, Lou in Alaska, matchmaker and mentor, posted a clip that I think is from UK state television. We'll see which channel it is. People make choices that can't be explained without involving demonic influence. No, as messed up as it is, alright, I understand the bug chasers' arguments. They're just insane. Right? You get what I'm saying? It's like if someone goes, I was too hot, so I dropped a block of ice on my head. A 10-ton block of ice on my head. Insane, but I understand. You were hot, so you put cold thing on you. Right? There's a difference between agreeing and being able to see it from their perspective, as in you would do the same thing, and understanding that from their perspective it makes sense, but their perspective is zonked. Utterly zonked. How much cursed porn and childhood trauma would a person have to experience to behave this way as a lifestyle choice? Watch the women try to stomach this in person. It's unsettling, uncanny. In full fairness, I feel that the mask isn't helping here. I feel that in terms of the demonic presentation here, I don't think the AIDS Donnie Darko Frank mask helps. It does look like, is it called Frank in Donnie Darko? The rabbit suitman? Looks like he's dying and shriveling up. Let's see what's up here.
I contracted HIV on purpose. Now people ask me to give it to them.
What the
Channel 4! Good old Channel 4. Let's go. Wonderful.
What is sexual about wanting to chase for HIV?
That's not me, and it doesn't look like me. Alright? Rev already said it. Fuck you.
People do it for different reasons.
I'm asking you why you do it.
Nice. You know what? Credit. I feel like a lot of people would let him get away with that and just be like, you know, people do it for different reasons. No, why you?
I'm not trying to shock you, and I appreciate that a lot of people do find it a very distressing topic.
No. No, sweetie. Pretty much everyone.
At the end of the day, you're playing with your life by choice because you want to have more pleasure.
But pleasure is very important.
Holy shit. I feel like this is a huge chunk of society's problems summarized. You're giving yourself HIV for pleasure. You're risking your life absolutely unnecessarily, deliberately increasing danger in affecting yourself. You are on the side of the virus, deliberately harboring viruses, just for pleasure. How do you respond? Pleasure's really important. Nah.
Nah. Like, there's not so many things that can give you extra pleasure that doesn't involve you having bareback sex.
The fear that you're gonna get HIV is actually, it's not a little bit more pleasure. It ruins your intimacy for good.
What I'm going to say now...
Guys, I haven't been able to ride my motorcycle. I haven't been able to ride my motorcycle because I've been so scared that I'm going to fall off and lose my legs. So, I got them cut off, and now I don't need to worry about losing them. I can ride my motorcycle no problem.
Now is probably going to really, really upset you and probably really sicken you.
You have to appreciate this is a lot to take in. I just need to be left alone right now because this...
Come on, though. Come on. It's a lot to take in. It's a big paused load.
It's just mad.
The term bug chasing refers to someone who's HIV negative but wants to be infected with the HIV virus.
And actually, bug chasing is the act of going for it?
Bug chasing is actually a very, very small proportion.
For a second, I thought he was going to say, like, a tradition or a sport.
Portion of the gay community. And
I feel like the implication is that people thought it was the majority or something. Also, very, very small. Seems not as minuscule as you should be describing it.
And people who are HIV positive, the number that deliberately bug chased is, again, really quite a small proportion.
Quite small.
I've been described as an ethical gifter.
He's the Santa of AIDS!
In that I have a conversation with someone.
Ethical. Spreading an incurable virus to people who will then be able to spread it. You know, consider, even if he were somehow a truly ethical gifter, was able to determine that the person understood what they were doing, he determined, you know, oh, they're happier to have it than to fear having it and not have it, so you know it's the right thing to do. What happens? Have you done something good if you made them not scared of it because they have it and then they spread it to 100 fucking people?
So I would never go up and have sex with someone randomly without first having a discussion about my status.
We're not just talking about sex and disclosing your HIV positive status. We're talking about deliberate infection.
Why would...
Like, in the same way, to protect public health, I think you have to, you know, stop people from doing home surgeries and whatnot. I think if you are on fucking record deliberately spreading this stuff, and it can be proven that you are doing this and you're not just saying it, I think there's justification for stopping that from occurring, to be honest. Deliberate spreading of the virus, because it's not just, okay, this is going to sound super autistic. I hate viruses, they are an enemy of mankind! Overwhelmingly. HIV, certainly. You're aiding and abetting our fucking alien enemy, you fucker!
Anybody want to be given HIV?
You're increasing the, what do they call it? The virus's reservoir. Because don't forget, viruses don't stay the same forever. The more people carrying it, right? I believe the more chance for it to mutate and for there to be more varied strains that are potentially harder to deal with or get rid of. You know, I think, can't you get HIV stacking? Can you get HIV stacking? So deliberately spreading it is potentially a threat to people not involved. I'd suggest highly likely a threat to people who are not involved. So I think, no, you can't be fucking doing that, bro.
All sorts of reasons. Some see it as a fetish, some see it as power play situation.
That's insane mental illness. I think at the point you're into that in itself is enough to say you are mentally ill and there's justification in stopping you from doing that.
Some people want it so they can relax.
Just some nice, relaxing aids. Hey, when I said I need some kind of relaxation aid, I meant I wanted a little glass of whiskey. I didn't mean I wanted you to come in my ass.
Will you seek any medical help for that?
Relax from what? Asks High Blast. The idea is, there are people who are so scared of catching HIV that they would prefer to just get it, because then they don't have to worry about getting it. That is what I believe the explanation is.
Cool.
I will do it sometime.
So you're gonna.
However, isn't this ludicrous with the effectiveness of PrEP? I mean, it's fucking ludicrous anyway, but even within their own logic, I don't think it makes sense. I don't think it's sound.
Knowingly give yourself.
Because you can, if you're so scared, you can minimize the risk to such a degree that it should alleviate your fear. Versus the extreme option of deliberately getting it, so now I just have to deal with having it.
Or something, and then use an NHS service that's already strained because...
That's what I'm saying, Fargo Lefty. I believe that's what PrEP is.
You're fulfilling some sort of weird fetish or fantasy.
Here we go.
I didn't contract it for fetish or fantasy reasons.
No, but will you use... My question is, like, will you then use... You've knowingly given yourself something, and then are you going to then use... Are you going to go private, so you're paying for it yourself because...
Oi, mate, you're going to treat your AIDS on the NHS? You're going to treat your HIV on the NHS? Here's the thing as well, though. He's now become a public health issue. You can say, hey, fuck this guy, he shouldn't get treatment on the NHS. Well, you're denying him access to what would help stop him from spreading it potentially. What a just a fucking nightmare creature. What a nightmare creature this man is.
Something you've chosen to give yourself, or are you going to use the NHS?
I won't be going private. I will be using the NHS at some point when I decide to go on medication.
When I decide to go on medication. Oh, boy. I'm so glad I pay my national insurance contribution.
However, there's also the argument that people who take PrEP use up NHS budgets as well.
Yes, to avoid getting HIV. They do use up money to stop themselves from getting a fucking virus. I think that's different to deliberately getting a virus that then needs treatment. Are you insane?
I've been struggling to actually say anything because I have been living with HIV for 10 years. And although right now I've got a handle on it mentally, from the very beginning I've been undetectable, no risk to my partners. But I know a lot of people don't have that privilege, and people kill themselves after diagnosis when they realize what the reality is, right? That said, for a lot of people mentally, the gayest thing you can do.
For a lot of people mentally, the gayest thing you can do? What do you mean?
Is get HIV.
Can I play this on Twitch? Is this allowed? For a lot of people, the gayest thing you can do is get HIV. Is he going to make some commentary about, like, straight people thinking they can never get it? Where is this going?
So I think it's no surprise that some people derive sexual pleasure.
Oh. Arguing for deliberately catching HIV as an expression of homosexuality. I couldn't fathom possibly coming up with such a statement if I tried my hardest to imagine something you could pretend a gay person said to make homophobes angry. This is some shit you'd think a guy who's killed 20 gay people faked. An AI deepfake of a gay person saying that. I couldn't imagine any more potent anti-gay propaganda. Siffy, can you imagine if I generated an AI video of that guy saying that? Or a made-up person saying that? That would be... I'd be in jail for inciting hate against gays.
And it's part of people's sexual behaviors.
We're gonna have a break, so you can obviously be better.
I don't know yet. I just feel everyone's just talking at me and asking me questions and shit. I just need
What? That's your problem? I feel overwhelmed.
to be left alone right now because this is just mad.
I like the demonic flicker on the screen.
So what is the law in terms of giving people HIV?
There's something called reckless transmission, and if I passed on my HIV to someone who didn't know my status,
Here we
but I
go.
hadn't disclosed it to, if they weren't aware of my status, I hadn't used a condom or taken other precautions, I could be charged with GBH.
Yeah, hang on. I'll talk about something in a minute.
Personally, I've never had sex with someone who hasn't known my status, or if they haven't known my status, that I haven't had a type of
Oh!
sex that would they be at risk from contracting HIV.
Wouldn't be at risk of? How about would be at minimal risk? Which kind are you referring to? I don't think it's zero in any kind of intercourse, particularly if you're not taking medication as he isn't. So I understand the argument for decriminalization of spreading HIV to a partner you haven't made aware of your condition. So that was something in some state or some states perhaps in the US. Their argument was, California, okay, I'm not surprised. The argument was that because they really, they wouldn't want to have to disclose it to people, the argument was, with that being a crime, people would choose to never get tested. Because if they get tested and found out they had HIV, they'd then have to tell people. But if they never find out, they can't get in trouble for having sex with people and not disclosing it and giving it to them. Because... Oh, sorry, it wasn't decriminalized just from felony to misdemeanor? Sorry. Consequences lowered. Consequences lowered because they believed that would stop people from deliberately not getting tested and people will be more willing to get tested and find out. They thought that would overall have a public health benefit. More people would get tested because they wouldn't be scared of getting in trouble for transmitting it. But even if that works, I think you have to account for shit like this being real and existing.
Do you know how many people have contracted HIV from you?
I don't really want to... Yeah, no, I'd prefer not to answer that.
But you're so ethical. It's good HIV.
Hello, just dropping in post with the YouTube mic for a sec because Pantulapan in chat said, how does that make sense? They lowered the penalty for deliberately spreading it. I personally don't find the arguments convincing, but I do understand them. And this is one of the extreme reasons I don't find them convincing. Back in 2017, Senator Scott Wiener said to CNN, "The most effective way to reduce HIV infections is to destigmatize HIV, to make people comfortable talking about their infection, get tested, get into treatment." The hypothesis is people are scared to even get tested, so you have people who have it, don't know, aren't treated, have maximum chance of spreading it. If you lower the stigma by doing things like this, people are going to be more comfortable with it, more comfortable getting tested. They'll find out if they have it, they get treated, lower chance of spreading it. Problem being, this Rube Goldberg solution presumes a perfectly rational and responsible populace. We know this is not the case, and we also know that there exists the extreme end of people who are deliberately, knowingly, reckless. While I do think there are cases with laws where you should consider the effect of it beyond the justification of its letter, and here I'm talking about, for instance, the chilling effect of laws that restrict speech, I don't think this is one of those cases. I don't think the stigmatization of HIV as a result of spreading it intentionally or recklessly, or by not giving partners information I think they should have, the stigmatization of people who are HIV positive as a result of that being a felony, not buying that it is a primary force in the spread of the virus. Lowering the penalty or even decriminalizing it. Don't agree on principle, and I'm not convinced that such measures will decrease HIV infections overall. And of course, the implementation of any such measure has a little smokescreen in terms of measuring the true impact, because any increase in HIV infections can be explained as, well, it's just that people are more comfortable getting tested now. So it's theory crafting, and I don't think for a matter such as this, that's good enough.
I've never heard back from anyone that I've had sex with that has regretted a positive test result afterwards.
I've had no negative reviews. Ba-doom-tsh. Yep, that's the idea.
I do know of other people who have regretted it. Maybe it just
It's only being talked about in terms of being happy with it or being unhappy with it. Zero consideration of it as a public health matter. Pleasure is so important. What is
showed
this?
because of those outcomes that the approach I take is the moral, is the ethical approach to it, and helps minimise the risk of someone reacting badly to their diagnosis.
This is like the Plague Doctor SCP. Curing people of life.
Or maybe I'm kidding myself.
I can relate to one thing you said quite deeply. Even though I don't share your decision to gift people.
It's time for the uplifting. High energy aids.
I have also experienced what it feels like to be always wondering when you're gonna get HIV. Since I contracted HIV, despite everything that happened and all the pain, I cried for 6 months initially. I have never had better sex.
This is... Okay, you know what? I'm coming around to OP's statement. People... The only explanation is demonic influence. This is now like an ad for HIV. You'll be sad for six months, but you're gonna have... Ooh, makes sex... Dude, HIV makes sex amazing.
Then, after. Because I don't have to worry about that one thing, so I get that.
Where did you get PrEP? Does the prophylactic medication not alleviate that worry at all?
I get that, and it saddens me that most people...
Something that I think is very telling to the mindset as well, though. So, ostensibly, Siffy, tell me what you think of this. Ostensibly, medication to prevent it does not assuage their panic about contracting it, right? So they get it and their fear of contraction is gone. Why aren't they mentally freaked out about the risk, however minimal, of giving it to someone else? If the medication that minimizes the risk of them getting it isn't enough to assuage their concerns about getting it, why are they happy with the risk of giving it on the basis of low odds of transmitting it?
Won't give it enough space to hear that.
Just so insanely selfish.
Like,
yeah.
this is unique. Most people will judge you before they even
But there's
consider.
no.
Well, this is what I'm talking about.
No, because
Civy's super saying HIV isn't alright. He's saying you're a fucking moron to do this because you can stop it.
At the end of the day, you're playing with your life by choice
But I
because you
didn't.
want to have more pleasure.
But pleasure is very important.
Sex is sex.
No.
Yeah, it is. Sex is
Nah.
sex. Sex is sex. Just
Nah.
because you want a bit more pleasure in bed. Like, there's not so many things that can give you extra pleasure that doesn't involve you having bareback sex. And doesn't involve...
That's not even necessarily something you have to give up if you use the fucking meds.
you getting HIV and then giving other people HIV.
The fear that you're gonna get HIV is actually, it's not a little bit more pleasure. It ruins your intimacy for good.
I'm not trying to shock you, and I appreciate that a lot of people do find it a very distressing topic. I'm not doing it to create that sort of reaction. Thank you, though, for listening to me.
You're welcome.
That was fucking difficult. That was really difficult for me. I can tell that it was difficult for you as well.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
That's what I've just stayed quiet because I have nothing like...
She did okay.
The arrogance, the narcissism, the entitlement, the privilege.
I see different things. I see oppression.
Actual hell demon world.
And potentially...
Oppression?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, okay, so you see, this is one of the things that I don't think...
I think that little look down he did was him going, fuck, she's black. Did you see his little look down with his eyes? That felt like, fuck, she's black. I can't... Oh, damn, oppression isn't the magic word against her.
you perceive.
I think it's really
You can't
funny.
expect anyone to feel empathetic for people of your community that are like that.
I think the end of it is there's just way too much to unwrap here.
Well,
Right,
a lot
I'm
of tumors
cutting.
are...
Way too much to unwrap? I think unwrapping something is the problem. Ask the mask. They should have kept Jim Carrey. This sequel is fucked up.